Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Magnus, and what did I feel like playing today? Well, that would be this. This is Banished, released a few days back on February the 18th on Steam for about $20 if I recall, and subsequently it has taken over my life for the last several days. The week that I'm recording this is actually my reading week from university, so I should be doing assignments. However, when I read about this game, I had to go get it immediately, basically, because this is the kind of game that I like. It's extremely difficult. This town that you have behind you, as you might imagine, this is a town that I sort of built, and subsequently, I believe it horribly died, if I recall. It's the town of Dustry. This is an earlier save, the autosave. We'll take a little quick look at it to see where it is, but it wound up being quite horribly. I got to my population to about 75, and then we kind of ran out of food. So right now, people are starting to die of old age, running out of food, so I'm actually going to probably load up a previous save closer to the, rather than the autosave, because the autosave, I think I've gone too far, expanded a bit too much, and now it's somewhat problematic. So I'm actually just going to load up the regular save in the town of Dustry, just seeing where this is. This town was just sort of a test. Yeah, I want to do that. Anywho, what is Banished, you might ask? Well, in the most simplest of terms, it is a village builder. Now, I say village and not city, because if you can get a big population, well, you're probably doing a very good job. As I mentioned earlier, the later save of this, the autosave, I had a population of about 60 people, and we were pretty much on the verge of starvation. So, that sort of happened. So in this game, what do you do? Well, you have your UI tools down here. You can speed up the simulation, slow it down, as you like to do. Personally, I like to play on 2 to 5 times. Just kind of lets you see what you're doing. These menus are kind of important. They're turned off by default. Oops. That's the professional ones, yeah. All these are turned off by default. I like to keep the map on just so I can sort of see, roughly what's going on. It's really hard to tell what's what. So I can sort of see that there's kind of rocks there, but I can't really see it up here. So let's just go back to my settlement, take a look around. And what do we got so far? So, what is the point of this game, you might ask? It is a village simulator, and the entire point of it is to make a town that will essentially survive the test of time before something horrible happens to you. In the later version, I was around Season 12, so this hard save is several years earlier. So I've got a lot of expanding to do. As you can see, I have lots and lots of food right now. So basically, what we do in this game is you build a town, and you hope for things to happen. And it's one of those games that this is actually, this town that I'm currently doing, probably the 4th or 5th try that I've had with the game, because this game's very good about letting you get somewhat better as you go, because you sort of learn what you need to do. The previous towns, I generally didn't last past Season 4 or 5 because I ran out of food, mainly due to the fact that I wasn't using proper earlying food techniques of cultivation, hunting, gathering, fishing, stuff like that. Right now, I've pretty much clear-cut this forest, and I'm using the Forester Lodge to grow it back up. I have another one over here, actually, or I'm going to build one right here to help me clear out this area so I can keep my wood up here to build more buildings and to have firewood. Now, unlike other city builders like SimCity, well, I'll use SimCity as an example because it's probably one of the most common ones people will recognize, where you manage census data, and you control basically how your city operates with the click of a few buttons. In this game, you see the professions here. You basically control your laborers. So right now I have 23 adults and 11 children. Children are by and large, they just eat food until they grow up. Now a child becomes an adult when they get to age 10. So let's see if I have anything. So she's 8 right now, so she's eventually going to become an adult when she turns 10. I don't have anybody anytime soon other than those two. So, and that will give you laborers. Laborers you can then assign to different jobs. So right now it's the springtime, so I'm going to want my farmers to tend the peach orchard. So then when the harvest comes, it will give me a bunch of food to sort of survive the winter. I have the foresters to try to cut down trees. I have a lot of firewood right now, so I don't need a woodcutter. So let's send you back to work, and I don't need a trader, but I do need a tailor, but I don't have any leather. Because I currently don't have any stored clothes, which isn't good. But I should soon, because I have leather here. That's weird. No, I don't. Something happened. Something took the leather. Hopefully I can then get some clothes to keep people warm in the wintertime, because one of the major mechanics in the game is keeping your villagers alive, really. And when you keep them alive, good things happen. Your town flourishes, and they also don't get upset, because when the family starts dropping dead all around them, it kind of affects their happiness. So right now, my citizens are fairly happy, and they're somewhat healthy as well, because I don't have any sickness. I have a herbalist. I have lots of herbs for medicines, so I can keep stuff nice and clean. So, what is the point, and why am I playing this, you might ask, and why have I continued to play it? Well, as you can see, there's not a whole hell of a lot that goes on in this game. So let's actually just sort of speed it up for now for display purposes. There's not really a lot that goes on in this game, as you can understand. I need some more wood, but I don't have any logs to cut wood, so... am I doing... Oh, I don't have anyone to build that. That's problematic. Okay, so I need a builder to build that so I can actually start getting forestry. So I can start getting wood again, because I'm trying to let this this sort of forestry grow. There, I could probably cut a little bit, but I'll wait. I should have enough firewood to last the winter, because the stored wood does not. That equates to what's in your storage barn. If you actually look at the houses, there's stuff in there that is additional. So as we can see, like these three houses have more than like 146 things of firewood, or about that much. And then if we click on here, we can see that, oh, wait, no, that didn't work. Okay, maybe not. Oh, there's the firewood. So, on the stockpile. So 146, it equates to this, the supply thing equates to what's in your stockpiles and your storage barns. Actually, pretty much just the stockpile, because this doesn't, well, it calculates food, but everything else is done on the stockpiles. So, as I was saying, why am I playing this game? Well, it's rather engaging, and it's one of those games that you will die because it's incredibly difficult at times. And it has this... As it looks right now, it looks very peaceful. You know, they're tending the orchard, they're fishing, they're growing trees. It looks very, very relaxing, and the game is relaxing to play, don't get me wrong. But it also has a really nasty way of tricking you into thinking you're doing incredibly well, and then it turns around and something horrible is going to happen. You're either going to starve, or... Yeah, you're pretty much going to starve. That's one of the major things I find, because you have to protect your civilians from the environment, which is cold. You can do that by houses and firewood. Food is generally the biggest problem I find, especially as you grow your community out, because it requires more food. So right now, with 34 people, I have plenty of food, and I gain a fair bit. So it's not as problematic. With a larger community, I need more stuff. And that's sort of what happened. I thought I had enough because I made a farm and I made another orchard, but I had a bad harvest in the other game. So when the bad harvest comes along, you don't get the food for the winter time, and people start freezing and dying off, because as they freeze and as they starve to death, it then affects how much you can actually do. You lose your woodcutter, you lose your blacksmiths, you can't make tools anymore, you start losing your foresters, you can't get wood, and it becomes this gigantic attrition domino that when one thing falls over, your town basically just collapses in on itself. It's interesting and it's annoying, but it also encourages you to try again. So right now, what the hell is this? Reserve of tools is low. Okay, that means I need a blacksmith, because I don't have any tools. Probably because I just sent a bunch to the trader. So now my blacksmith will start using the iron to make tools. Tools are very important because they allow your workers to actually do the things that you tell them to do. You can have them build, which I need to do. I need more foresters, so we'll do that. The harvest is going to be coming up. The harvest generally happens in autumn, so hopefully... Unfortunately, I don't think this orchard is old enough yet. The thing with orchards is they take a fair bit of time to start generating food. Whereas with the crops, the crop field, it generates it every single year. The orchards, however, can generate things like fruits and other things like that, whereas the crops, as you imagine, generate crop vegetables. Orchards, what I find, once you start actually generating from the orchards, they tend to have a higher yield than the crops, but they do take several years before you actually start being able to get the harvest from them. I don't think I can yet, because this is too young, and as you can see the yield thing, it currently has a 0 yield, because the peach trees are too young, apparently. So, let's build... Well, actually, I need tools. Lots of tools. And this forest has come back up nicely, so maybe next season, I can start cutting the trees down again to get wood, which isn't too bad. So it's very much a micromanaging game to see how long you can survive, and it's not for everybody. Don't get me wrong. This game can be incredibly boring at times, especially when, just kind of looking here, what's this guy getting off to do? He's a hunter, so he's going hunting, but he has no tool to go hunting with, so that's going to be... And that's the other problem. It's really hard to get those moving citizen menus. So, what kind of things can you build in this game? Well, you can build your houses. You have your wooden house, your stone house, and your boarding house. You have to have houses, otherwise your citizens freeze come the wintertime. And it gives them a place to live. It also lets you grow your community. Now, as you click on them, you can see, okay, well, there's people, so mom, dad, kids, mom, dad, kid, mom, dad, kids again. Well, actually, this one's kind of interesting, because if I build another house, this guy's probably going to move out with one of the others, like adults, that are capable of producing children, which I believe is somewhere around the age 15 is when they do that. Because I've clicked on houses before, and it's like, okay, the guy's like 12 and the girl's 17 and they have a 2-year-old. It's kind of weird like that. It really is. But again, this is kind of a middle-age sort of game where stuff like that was maybe common, I don't know. I didn't live in the Middle Ages, though, well, depending on your belief system, I might have, I don't know. I don't think I did. Anywho, so it's now autumn, I have no, well, I have no firewood, so this is going to be a bit of a rough winter. Coming up. I don't need farmers anymore, because it's now late autumn, so let's send you to here, send you to there. Let's make a woodcutter. And so now it's still late autumn, but it is snowing. The weather conditions are kind of interesting, actually. Fortunately, I do have some clothes, so I might be able to survive the winter without the fire. Ooh, actually no, these guys are freezing. They are cold. You can tell they're cold because they have the little... There's no firewood in the house. Why are my tools so fucking low? I think I put too many tools here. Yeah, I did. Let's go back. 20 tools. Yeah, I really need tools so I can actually do things like create firewood. Well, I've got some firewood now, so at least these... they're still probably going to freeze, but I can get some more firewood going. Nope, no, they're not freezing. Okay, cool. So what I really need is tools, but I have a bunch now, so this guy can go get it. So would I recommend this game to people? Well, that's hard to say. It depends on the kind of game you're looking for. If you're looking for something that you can... If you're like me, for example, and you like a game that's going to be very, very challenging, and kind of kick you in the balls when you're doing really well, then this game's for you. Because as I said, this game is really good about tricking you into having a false sense of success, and then absolutely just destroying your hopes and dreams, and creating your town to collapse in on itself. So, it's fun to, well, I wouldn't say that it's fun to play. It's fun from a certain perspective. It's fun from the perspective that I have. Pardon me. Like, it's fun from the perspective that I have because I enjoy this kind of micromanagement. I like building roads to things, my stuff. There's a bunch of different resources you can gather, food, multiple different ways of gathering food, different resources. I mean, there's no real tech tree, so it's kind of, okay, what can my town support? Because I can essentially build everything at the start of the game, but it's whether or not your town is capable of supporting it. So, for example, if I want to build a chapel, it's going to require a hell of a lot of resources. So it takes 50 wood, 130 stone, and 30 iron, of which I don't really have anything. I have stone and I have iron, but I have no wood whatsoever. I'm probably going to start leveling this forest pretty soon to get that wood, and this forest is going to start being... So as we can see, since I created this thing, it started to grow these little saplings. So you get sort of sustainable forestry, which helps to build your town up. But the more you build your town, the more resources it drains, particularly food. Food is a major problem in this game. Because if you don't mine enough, or if you don't harvest enough food from fishermen, you can also see what each sort of food source got. So in the previous season, it caught 740 fish. It's currently caught 6. So right now, I'm at a fairly sustainable... Right now, as my town is, it's pretty much self-sustaining. Okay, it's early spring, so let's actually pause this, because I have to do stuff. The trader came, which is nice. If you have a trading post, traders will periodically come, and then you can make trades for them. This is really important because it's the only way you can actually gather livestock. I haven't been able to do that in any of the games yet because livestock is ridiculously expensive. Now, that said, there's no actual money in this game. There's no concept of currency. Everything is done via trading. So, what does that mean? Well, let's slow this down and let people do their things. So, if we go back to the trading post, I have a trader here. He currently has 330 squash and 333 berries that cost 1 apiece. I have 20 iron tools in my trading post's inventory, so I can trade 1 iron tool for probably 8 things of squash. So if I do that, I can trade 1 iron tool for 8 things of squash. So, what can I get for 20 iron tools? Well, let's figure this one out. So what is 20 times 8? 20 times 8, that's 160. So I can trade it for 20 tools for 160 items of squash. And that's basically how the trading system works, and that is the only real form of currency. Now, I have a lot of food currently anyways, and it's really hard to trade food away. I used to stock like logs and onions and venison in all this stuff, but it's really hard to trade the food, so I just decided to hang on to it. So I'm going to keep my tools, because there's no point. I'm going to send this trader on its way, because I don't need that food right now. And we're going to go and see. We had a child named Michaela somewhere, so now I'm up to 25. I'm up to 35 people here, which is alright. My orchard should, in theory, grow some peaches this year, hopefully. Peaches take a long time to grow, the trees in the orchards. So, since I'm probably going to want to expand, let's first build a road. I don't have to build the roads, but they are nice. Just sort of, it helps you kind of determine the way your town is laid out. I need a builder to build a road. And let's build a couple of houses that don't have anything. Okay, this forest is nice and now fully grown back, so I can start cutting the trees down again. And what I can actually do, just to speed up the cutting, is you just go to remove trees, or everything, and we're just going to clear cut this area. And it's going to mark all the trees, and now my villagers that are laborers, which I currently don't have any, which I could probably make just by kind of dipping you down, maybe dip down. Actually, my builder's not doing anything. She should be doing it. It should be building a road. Why aren't you building a road, you piece of junk? And then we'll just sort of speed up. Actually, we'll dip it down, and there we go. So if we speed it up, and we just start, the villagers just start clear cutting the forest, and this will create a lot of lumber. And then this guy will sort of reseed the trees in this area. And then this area, I'll just have it slowly cut this tree down. Whereas when I clear cut this, I can then build over it and start the growing process again. It just sort of happens that way. And that's pretty much how the game runs. Is it fun? I'd say it is, because it makes you think, really, and plan on what you're going to do. I don't really recommend playing it on the high simulation speeds, because stuff can happen, and if you're playing it too quickly, you might miss a key component on something that's very, very important. And as I said, this game has basically taken over my life for the last... Let's see, today is the 21st, right? Yeah, today's the 21st. This game came out on the 18th. So for the last 3 days, this game has basically taken over my life and completely destroyed all of the projects that I was supposed to be working on this week. That says something, either about me or about the fact that this game is actually rather compelling to play. Which it is. I'm enjoying it, despite the fact I've had some rather interesting times and horribly dying in multiple ways. But, that said, I think it's a fun game. It's not, but on the same token, it's definitely not for everybody. It's for a very specific kind of person that's kind of a glutton for punishment, because this game will piss you off, and bad things will happen to you, I can guarantee it, and it's really just how much punishment do you want to put yourself through? So currently, as we go back to the farm, or my orchard, my peach trees are now actually going to give me food this winter, which is going to be nice, because with the harvest, you get a big influx of food. Currently, I have a lot of stored food anyways, so I can probably start building some houses to expand my community. So let's drop a couple of houses, and let's just drop a house sort of here, here, and here. So drop 3 houses. Of course, I need builders for that, but this forest has been having clear cut, so I can transplant those laborers into builders, which will be fine. And now they'll bring over the stuff that needs to be made, and they'll start building houses. And then what's going to happen is some of these places that have older adults in their early 20s and 30s, they will move out and start families of their own, like these two probably. Well, maybe not those two. Well, they'll probably move out with like this guy and Where's a decently aged female? I don't have one, actually. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Anywho, yeah, most of the people are male. Oh well. Well, we'll see what happens. People will start having kids pretty quickly, though. And then it helps grow the town. And, well, that's pretty much all there really is to this game. It's a simulation of, building a town. There's no combat of any kind. So if you're thinking, well, that's not really interesting to me, then you're probably right. It is a survival game. In its truest sense, it is a survival game. It is how well can I design a self-sufficient community that is completely agrarian, as you have literally no contact with the outside world, with the exception of the occasional trader that comes by. You cannot contact any other towns or nearby villages. They just don't exist. So you're basically on your own, and it's how good of a community can I create that's completely self-sustaining, and how long can I keep it going before it eventually, or if it collapses in on itself. So in the truest sense, it's a survival game, and how well I can design a community, which is kind of fun. It's interesting. I enjoy it. And if you're like me, which, you might be, I don't know, I think you'll enjoy it as well if you like that kind of a game, where it requires a lot of micromanagement, because you really have to manage your jobs. So right now my builders are doing nothing, so I should send them back to being laborers, so they can actually do something useful. And the autumn's coming, the harvest is pretty much done. So I've only got 24% of the yield left, but the autumn's already here, so I might not get any more peaches out of this. But we'll see. I'll wait till wintertime to pull the farmers off the orchard, and then send them off to probably collect stuff. Ooh, what's this? My storage capacity for goods is almost filled. So that tells me I should probably build another storage barn, which I shall do, just like that. And I'll just kind of do that. Get 3 builders going, maybe 4 builders actually. What's this? Reserve the logs, produced goods. Yeah, I already know that produced goods are kind of low. So, that's Banished, basically. It's a micromanaging game. And it is rather interesting, I'd say. Definitely difficult. It will take several playthroughs before you sort of figure out what to do and how to go about it. There is a wiki for this game. If you want to spoil yourself, because there is like proper build orders that you can do, as with most types of simulation games. There is a proper build order, but half the fun of this game is sort of playing it as trial and error, and each time doing something new, designing something a little different, learning about how to expand, taking the risks of, okay, did I overextend myself and now my community collapsed in on itself? Trying to take those risks is half the fun of the game. And I enjoy that part. If you enjoy that part too, it's on Steam for $20 if you want to try it out. I don't know. I find it fun. It's interesting, and yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. It's taken over my life, and I should really do my schoolwork, but I want this town to succeed. The town of Dustry, which was completely randomly generated. I don't know why it calls it. Some of the town names are actually kind of weird and silly, but it's fun. The maps themselves are completely randomly generated. There's a random seed that you can change when you start the game. So it's got a fair bit of randomness to it. As far as, the graphics quality, it's actually not bad. I mean, for a 250 meg install, it's actually pretty good. Controls with the keyboard pretty easily. So WASD moves the camera around. You can also move it with the mouse. There is a zoom in on the keyboard, which is, for some reason, insert and delete, but the mouse wheel works just fine. And, you know, we can sort of, like, take a look around, see what's going on. If you want to play it from, like, the top-down SimCity perspective, you know, feel free to. It's not too bad. And as I was saying, you know, the texture quality for a 250 meg install, not terrible. I mean, I'm not even playing on the highest graphics quality, and, you know, I can sort of make out the textures on the barn. I can see the slats on the roof, the stone blocks. It's not an ugly game. It's actually rather neat. And the thing I like about the trees is, you know, they actually grow. Like, we have the birch trees right here. In the springtime, these will actually bloom, which is really fantastic. The rain effects is nice. It's a nice touch. The water effects are pretty cool as well. I mean, it looks like water, sort of. Well, that kind of looks like frozen water, but there's the current, so that's a better example right here. When you get the, you know, the sunlight kind of shining in. That's a nice, better example. Got the clouds, some really good reflections. Aside from the fact that the cloud seems to move with me, which is kind of neat and sort of weird at the same time, because clouds don't really do that. But there we go. So now the cloud sort of moves. Anywho, that's Banished. If you like a challenging game that's going to test your micromanagement skills, I'd recommend it. If you don't, well, more power to you. I mean, you save the money, and maybe it might not be worth $20. You might want to wait for it to go on sale. I like this kind of game, so when I read about it, I jumped on it incredibly quickly, because this is the kind of stuff that I like. But if it's not for you, but you want to try it, wait for it to go on a Steam sale. It's been incredibly popular over the last couple of days, so it may end up going on sale, maybe even the Steam Summer Sale. I don't know. I don't want to sort of say anything about that, but popular games that do sell very well, will oftentimes end up on the summer sale. So we'll see what happens. So anywho, thank you for watching. My name is Magnus. Good luck out there, and I shall see you next time.